north, south, east, west of the milk gang. Y'all already know how it's gonna go. And to the ones on their first time log in, welcome to Ish Milk TV. Now come on, we about to react to this Flock Bronx drill biggest crash out. Now let's go, let's log in and see what's the script. Come on.
Once drill music reached Brooklyn, the likes of Pop Smoke, 22Gs and Fabio Foreign made gangster rap cool in New York once again, and making music that gave the world a glimpse into the dangerous gang lifestyles of the rappers living there. For a period of time, the borough of Brooklyn was New York's drill capital, but that changed in 2021 with the rise of Bronx drill, with rappers like Flock and Dougie B from the Bronx, who had been making music since 2020, beginning to see mainstream success. In 2021, Flock, Dougie B and B Love dropped Brotherly Love, which blew up. This track put the spotlight on this emerging trio of drillers cooking up street music in the Bronx, and they begun carrying the torch for the New York drill scene. Flock followed up that success with an even bigger hit when he dropped his song Is You Ready, the hyper-aggressive drill anthem, which is arguably one of the most energizing drill songs ever to be made. Flock shouted his way through the song with the energy of a drill sergeant of drills over a booming beat that guaranteed to make the striker shake. But the song being a drill anthem meant that it of course included pointed disses towards his rivals in the Bronx too. But Flock's connection to these particular ops would gain a lot of attention, because Flock and his friends are from Sevside, a hood around East 187th Street with a set in the area known as 700 DOA. Rah Gz, who was not only Flock's op but also his cousin, hails from an infamous New York project building called the River Park Towers, or RPT, with a notorious gang coming out of that block called the YGs, hence the name Rah Gz. Rah would become a popping Bronx drill rapper in his own right off the back of his massive song Caution. This high energy anthem, one of my favourite songs out of the Bronx drill scenes, put Rah on the map too, and once these two beefing cousins blew up, they would find themselves in a bitter feud in the streets with their friends on respective sides of the war actively sliding and trying to kill each other, all while they were making music about it. Now if you want an even more detailed breakdown of this situation, you can go and watch my full documentary Murder in a Montclair for the whole background. But for now, let me give you a quick recap, because on the track Is You Ready, Flock raps I could do shh like Ice did to Sonny, a reference to Ice who kidnapped his nephew Sonny in the movie Paid in Full.
I could do like Ice did to Sonny.
With Flock basically saying that he doesn't care if they're family, he will still slide on his cousin. The two cousins feud would become a staple mark of this new drill scene, as fascinated fans would flock to the scene to learn more about this deadly family feud. The beef between Rah's YGs and Flock's DOA crew had been running for years by this point and had already gone deadly. One of the earliest incidents of serious violence between these two groups occurred on the 7th of April 2020, when a YG's member named Wu Lottie, real name Glenn Cole, was walking in Sugar Hill with other YGs, ultimately being caught by enemies around 1 AM, when a car full of another set of rivals beefing with the YGs, the OGs, pulled up, chasing Wu Lottie and his friends with broomsticks, trash cans and knives. Lottie would trip over and the gang set upon him furiously. He would be left with stab wounds to his torso and thigh, later dying in a Harlem hospital.
Investigation underway in Harlem after a man was stabbed to death. It happened just before 1 this morning on West 154th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue. Authorities say officers found the man with multiple stab wounds to his torso and legs. His identity yet to be released.
Torso and the legs?
Two people were initially arrested, a 28-year-old and a 16-year-old. The man was William Hopetoun, quickly identified by police after renting the zip car used in the crime in his name, with cops later arresting a total of 5 people in connection to the crime. During this period, Flock was a menace in the streets, regularly spinning his various ops blocks on IG Live, pulling up to their buildings and trying to draw out the ops for a shootout.
IG Live.
Come outside, we in front of y'all building. Look, we in front of y'all building. I wish when y'all over here, we just shot when y'all face, we never went love. He live in this building, y'all. I feel like a warrior. Bro, I'm not going like no ops. What am I, mom? Making a movie on live. If I gotta die, what am I, that means? Well, I'm on a block, Tolo. I'm on a block. I'm on a block. I'm on a block.
Things would truly heat up in the streets between DOA and the YGs in 2020 and 2021, when a bloody back and forth took place that saw numerous young men losing their lives on both sides. On September the 10th, 2020, 17-year-old named Kethel Wirtz, aka K-Dub or Dubski, was walking on the street in Hoe Avenue in Crotona when he was confronted by 2 masked gunmen. He tried to run but tripped and was shot multiple times, later passing away in hospital.
Loved ones lit candles and shared stories of 17-year-old Kethel Wirtz.
He was a cool dude, always laughing. He never bothered nobody unless he had to.
Yeah, that's a fact.
He was just a chill guy.
The whole crime was caught on camera, but it's far too violent to show you on YouTube.
Surveillance video shows the moments leading up to his death on Hoe Avenue in Crotona. One of the suspects was also seen shortly after walking on Southern Boulevard. A motive is still unclear. Take a good look at this video. Police are hoping someone recognizes the 2 men.
The cops would later make an arrest, with later unconfirmed speculation circulating that the killer was indeed from Sevside. However, only days later, there would be another killing seemingly carried out by YG's affiliates. On September the November 12, 2020, 23-year-old Christopher Pagan, aka Yellow, was in a parked car at Jackson Houses on Park Avenue near East 158th Street in Melrose when a gunman approached and opened fire. One man was shot and survived. However, Yellow was hit once in the head and once in the shoulder, leaving him dead at the scene. The YGs would mock Yellow after his death and would begin to reference his name in songs too. 3 people were arrested for the crime, 2 being the shooters and 1 for providing the weapon and driving them, with the younger YGs member implicated in the killing of Yellow actually being caught and confronted on camera outside of court by B Love himself.
B Love, you talking about come across the street? I came to court with it. Flock, you throw that up one more time. You talking about? Because you talking about? Come across the street. Come across.
I'm not letting nobody walk up on me with a camera acting like they pressing me, and I'm just gonna be quiet. I don't care where we at, bro. We could be in front of a court, inside the court. I'm not just gonna do it, bro. I'm gonna show some type of resilience. I'm gonna stand up for myself, bro.
You talking about? Suck my G's up, nigga.
This video was taken by the YGs as a big provocation against the group, and from there the violence would only get worse. But during this time, K-Flock and D-Thang would also go back and forth personally. At the start of 2021, fans would see D-Thang and K-Flock hopping on live together, arguing about who has the best lean and smoke.
You never had this.
That's that mud. That's that mud. That's that mud.
Stupid, yeah.
I'm muddy.
Things would get seriously dark in 2021 when a feud between DOA and an infamous YGs member called Rah Gz would spiral out of control. In June of 21, K-Flock went live beefing with Rah Gz of the YGs, asking why he's told D-Thang that he shot K in the stomach, with Rah Gz saying K-Flock is a snitch for airing out their street beef on live.
What'd you do, Rah?
What am I? I might go say woman just coming in my face.
I don't believe you nothing you say, because you said, what are you dead? You clapped me in my stomach.
And you over there capping in your raps.
You jacking, you shot me in my stomach.
What am I dead?
Oh. Word of my mother, I had my cousin on this. D-Thing even told me. That's who told me. My cousin said you shot me in my stomach before.
Get me on IG with 1,500 views, say I shot him. Are you high?
You talking about high? It's nothing on my stomach.
You want me to say I shot you with 1,600 views, right?
What?
Now, old boy on Gilligan time, how you gonna say he's snitching, but you on live saying, man, you snitching, you get down here with 1,500 people saying that I bust on you in your stomach. Bro, ain't that basically like saying you did it? What are you talking about? You should have just stayed off the live, my guy. That's crazy.
Man, to me, you never.
I ain't gonna lie, this man going to jail. Do you not hear what he say?
Then, on June the 20th, K-Flock's big track, What Y'all Wanna Do, aka Power, releases, with a name and sample borrowed from the famous Kanye song of the same name. In the track, K disses Rah Rah, aka Rah Gz, saying that they saw each other and Rah didn't shoot him, and he would also reference Wu Lottie tripping up before he was killed, with K-Flock saying openly that he's a demon and that he spins through the Bronx trying to kill people. 3 days later, on June the 23rd, Rah Gz would drop a song with Nesty Flocks, responding to this, and the track is full of disses aimed at K-Flock. On June the 28th, Rah Gz would tease a snippet to another song dissing K-Flock on his Instagram, and then a few days later, after D-Thang's latest track, K-Flock would go on IG Live, spinning through the 800 block, which is YG's territory.
They gonna come through here. They right there. They don't want to come out. They know what I do. Bro, they been trying to spin.
Bro, you are recording a crime.
All in there. Basketball players. So it's about to get lit.
What is going across your mind right
basketball
now?
started leaving.
Immediately after that clip began to circulate, Rah Gz himself would then go live, saying that he's waiting outside for K-Flock to pull up.
Somebody tag K-Flock. Somebody tag K-Flock. It's not playing. Come right back. Outside right now as we speak. You coming through hiding on live, blocking your lives. See your like, what's up? Pop out. Outside here. Yo, K-Flock, pop out. Pop out right now. Right now as we speak. You wanna make shows? You gonna make shows too? Pop out. Water my mother. Pop out right now. Pop out right now. Nigga, where you at? Come up here. Where you at? Like, where you at? Wanna do weird? I wish I'd have sued you. I mean, you wanna
what
go
is
live
12
on my block
watching
and
this
I
live?
let nigga you on my block? Like, nigga, I worry about you.
Sadly, from here the consequences of this war would get deadly, but not for K-Flock. On the 7th of July 2021, at 11:35 PM, a 19-year-old rapper associated with the YGs, who went by the name Ty Swish, real name Tyquil Doherty, was in the lobby of his apartment on Prospect Avenue near East 182nd Street in Belmont. Here he was confronted by an unknown assailant who shot him in the eye as he attempted to flee. His injuries were too much, and he would collapse on the street, apparently being found dead outside of his own home by his mother.
19-year-old Tyquil Doherty was killed in this shooting. He was shot in the head and lived in this apartment building morning. He seemed to be walking in the doorway when he was shot in the head and killed.
Now, it's unclear exactly what Ty Swish's affiliations were or who killed him. However, a retaliatory attack would take place just 4 days later, with the target being a 13-year-old Jarian Elliott, aka J-Rip or J-Rip-K, an affiliate of the Crips from the Sev side, who according to police was actually at the scene of Ty Swish's murder, and who had recently been seen on Live with gang members. At around 3:15 p.m. on July the 11th, 2021, a black sedan pulled up to 743 East 187th Street near Prospect Avenue, where people would open fire on two boys on the street, with CCTV surveillance showing a man firing across the street in broad daylight. One of the boys was struck once in the chest and once in the ankle, attempting to run while the shooter fled. Jarian, aka J-Rip, attempted to find safety in the nearby Angels Cafe as panicked customers tried to save his life, with the entire ordeal being caught on video, but it's far too shocking to show you on YouTube.
Surveillance shows Jarian Elliott in red pants. Shots zing through the air. Within seconds, he scrambles inside a restaurant. A crowd surrounds him. Police say he got shot in the ankle and chest.
Now, me personally, if I'm getting chased down and somebody opening fire on me, this me personally, I'm not going to run into no crowded business, no crowded store, no crowded cafe, nothing like that, bro. Not really, because I think these individuals gonna chase me down, even though that thought is in the back of my head, but I really don't want to put them innocent civilians in the line of fire. I just don't want to do that. So I will take my chances on that street, ducking and diving, hitting the gate, whatever. I'll just take my chances. And then I do got that thought in the back of my head, like, whoa, they might really be about that if they doing this. They might chase me down in there. They got the mask on anyway. They don't care. They gonna come in there. But that's just a decision you gotta make. But bro,
lose his life en route to the hospital, being pronounced dead on arrival, killed only weeks before his 14th birthday.
Police marked multiple shell casings inside and outside Angel's Cafe as they gathered evidence throughout the evening. Surveillance video from across the street captured some of that chaos as an ambulance brought the young victim to the hospital where he would be pronounced dead. The victim lived only a block away and was identified as 13-year-old Jarian.
That's crazy. He lost his life a block away from his home in like a week before his birthday, before his 14th birthday. That's why, man, when you be outside, you gotta be on alert. Even if you ain't outside on that type of activity, if you ain't like on bullshit, you still gotta be on alert. Cause if a car pull up, man, you gotta be ready to get cracking before they get cracking. You got to, like, man, when they open that door, you gotta be ready to get cracking, bro. Cause you don't want to go out, bro. This ain't no Nintendo 64. A lot of people be thinking this like a Sega Genesis or something, like you could restart the game and be able to play it over. It don't work like that, man.
At his building tonight, candles glow in the shape of his initials, J.E.
Following his death, the news circulated an image supposedly depicting him holding a handgun and repeating reports that he claimed to be a rolling Crip, and reporting that he'd been arrested 8 times by the young age of 13, and that he was indeed the intended target of the attack. J-Rip was a close friend of K-Flock apparently, with K later posting throwback clips of them play fighting.
Yo, you supposed to be my man.
Nah, why you talk like that on Facebook, bro?
Alright, bro, what I put on your timeline.
What?
And what I put on your timeline and say, yo, Happy New Year, big bro.
Ops like D-Thang would later say they're smoking J-Rip, but even worse was Rah Gz, who went to the death site kicking over J-Rip's mural.
I ain't never did that like that. Never.
I always suck my.
A 16-year-old who was unnamed was later taken into custody for the shooting.
16-year-old boy has been arrested and charged with the murder of a Bronx teen. Investigators say the gunman shot and killed 13-year-old Jarian Elliott last month on East 187th Street in the Belmont section. Police say the shooting was gang-related and that Elliott was the intended target.
With the rumored shooter being a 16-year-old YG's member named Dolo Gz, accompanied by Rah Gz. But the cops wouldn't pick up Dolo for the crime until the following month. Unfortunately for Rah Gz, the police wouldn't be able to catch up with him before his enemies could. It's said that Rah was at the scene of J-Rip's murder, therefore was a target for retaliation. If the police knew this, the ops certainly did too. So apparently less than 10 hours after the murder of J-Rip, on July the 11th, 2021, a 16-year-old Rah, aka Rah Gz, real name Ramon Gil Medrano, was on the way to a music studio. At around 11:35 p.m, he sat in the back of a cab at East 178th Street at Valentine Avenue in Mount Hope when he's ambushed by 2 young men riding scooters who opened firing.
That's what I don't get about people. If you know that the funk is on, if you know the dust is being kicked up, you gotta be moving strategic. You can't get caught slipping. You gotta play real defense. If all this is going on, you shouldn't be in the back of no cab. Nobody got a hoop, bro. Like, nobody got a vehicle. You don't got a vehicle. I mean, like, I'm not gonna be in the back of no cab that don't got no tinted windows going to no studio at 11:30 at night, and I know all this funk is going on. You gotta make the right decisions when you outside, because, man, bro, one decision and it's over.
Striking him in the head and chest and leaving him for dead instantly. Making things even more shocking, the cab driver's CCTV passenger camera was rolling at the time of the attack, capturing Rah Gz's point-blank assassination in full HD with audio. But obviously I can't show you that on YouTube.
Overnight, a boy murdered in the back of a taxi in the Bronx. Police say 2 suspects riding on a scooter opened fire on the cab, killing the 16-year-old in front of the driver, who was not hurt.
Rah Gz would lose his life at the hands of other teenagers involved in the same gang war. With this apparently coming the same day, he took the life of a teenager 3 years younger than him. In less than a week, 3 youngsters caught of violence lost their lives as part of this gang war. At ages so young, I struggle to even believe any of them really had an idea or appreciation of the dangerous lifestyle they'd been born into. But despite the bad things that all of the youngsters involved in this story had allegedly done, I've got the utmost sympathy for them. They never had a choice or the proper guidance to avoid this terrible outcome at such a young age.
That's right.
Dthang would mourn following the news of his YG's brother losing his life, and other members from the crew mourned the loss as well. Meanwhile, the OPPS like K-Flock would brag that they are smoking Rah Rah. Others would tag K-Flock's music, referencing the incident, and some suggested that Rah Gz had said that he was smoking J-Rip after his death, and that now he will get to meet him. It was only a week after the murder of Rah Gz when K-Flock released his breakout song Is You Ready, catapulting him to the top of the drill scene. But K-Flock had gained infamy amid a backdrop of serious death and destruction, and Dthang wasn't far behind, clapping back with disrespectful songs of his own. On September the 28th, 2021, Dthang drops the song Talk Facts, a track which uses a sample of Somebody I Used to Know by Gautier combined with a booming drill beat. This beat is incredible, and if you know the sample, it's immediately recognizable. But just as the ATK rappers from Jacksonville had used a catchy sample of Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles to get everyone singing along to lyrics about their dead ops, Dthang did the same thing and used this sample to deliver an onslaught of offensive and disturbing lyrics aimed at his rivals. This song cemented Dthang's place as a leading voice in the Bronx drill scene too, but it was also an indication of heightening tensions in the streets, and only a day after this song released, another young man associated with the Bronx drill scene on K-Flock's side would lose their life again in the most tragic circumstances. On the 29th of September 2021, a Rolling 80s Crip affiliate, 16-year-old Nas Roller, real name Naziah Sanchez, who had allegedly mocked the deceased YG's member Rah Gz in a Facebook post, was standing on a busy street with another man on East 187th Street near Prospect Avenue, just across the street from where J-Rip had been killed. At 12:50 p.m, 2 men jumped out of a Honda Accord, shooting him in the head and chest. Nas would lay in the street surrounded by shocked members of the public and emergency medical staff who desperately tried to save his life, but they were unfortunately unsuccessful, and Nas would later pass away in St. Barnabas Hospital, with this very not safe for life crime scene being recorded and uploaded to Reddit, once again way too raw to show you on YouTube. This was a truly disturbing scene, and much like the stories that I've covered in Chicago, where brazen assassinations kill ops in broad daylight, leaving members of the public traumatized in the process, drives home just how little care is really given to human life in these deadly gang wars. After this, K-Flock would pay tribute to his fallen friend, while others would repost Nas's earlier post saying Rah Gz can't answer the phone, asking Nas to do the same now. Dthang and the YGs would go on Instagram and mock Nas following the news.
Smoking Nas!
Yo!
My brother Nas!
As well as that live, Dthang would make a post suggesting that Nas was sacrificed, while others made posts tributing Rah Gz. Things were truly out of control at this point, and having lost so many friends to the streets, K-Flock was on go, ready to shoot at a moment's notice. And repping a gang that's EBK meant that K-Flock would need to be ready to defend against a multitude of gangs in the streets, and unfortunately, soon he would be confronted in the streets and make a life-changing decision that would bring his career to a grinding halt. On December the 16th, 2021, K-Flock is walking with a woman through Sugar Hill, which is the OY territory, another gang that K-Flock's EBK crew has beef with. And this is only a block away from where E.Baby shot the Ready for War video. In fact, just before this incident took place, K-Flock was allegedly on FaceTime with an enemy, posting on social media that he has a gun in his coat, the exact spot where that music video was filmed. According to 1090 Jake, this video was filmed only a few minutes away from where the actual incident took place, because seemingly moments after that video was made, K-Flock is spotted walking by 24-year-old Oscar Hernandez, also known as OY Walker, who comes out of a barbershop and confronts K-Flock, asking him what is he looking at. The security footage that's currently available doesn't show exactly what happens next, as K-Flock is off screen, but a moment later, the victim appears to be shot, flying back and landing on the ground with incredible force in another clip that I can't show you on YouTube. OY
Walked up and got sent right back.
Later passing away at Mount Sinai Hospital. Following the killing, people began to pay respects to OY Walker, unaware that the most famous rapper in the community might have actually been responsible. E-Dot would go on to post mourning Walker and updating his IG to pay respects, saying everything for Wasker. Police would immediately begin investigating the killing. Unfortunately for the shooter, their expensive designer fit was caught on camera, and a day after the incident, the police would release an image of the suspect and the outfit.
Surveillance video of a suspect wanted in a deadly shooting in Harlem. The incident took place yesterday morning on 151st Street and Amsterdam Avenue. According to police, Oscar Hernandez was inside a barbershop when the gunman opened the door and asked him, quote, "What are you looking at?" And the victim went outside to confront him. He was fatally struck in the neck and the back. He was later pronounced dead.
It was only a matter of time before they pieced things together, and soon a wanted poster was issued for K Flock himself, with him facing second-degree murder charges. K had been seen on social media saying that he wants to get any outstanding recording done before he takes some time away, and on December the 23rd, K Flock surrendered to officers at the 30th precinct, only 2 minutes away from where the shooting occurred, and the NYPD would ultimately confirm that their well-dressed murder suspect was finally in custody. K Flock was charged with murder and criminal possession of a weapon. And these charges would rock the drill community, with fans and fellow artists expressing shock and disbelief. As of right now, K Flock is still awaiting trial for this murder charge, and his sudden downfall from the top of the budding Bronx drill scene represented a huge loss of potential. While I was in New York, I actually went to the location where K Flock caught this murder charge to try and get an idea of exactly how it must have felt to have been on that block when this confrontation went down. A bit lower down so you can kind of get me in the frame, like kind of crouch. It was right here at the mini market where the most buzzing rapper in the Bronx, K Flock, made a split-second decision that could well change his life.
Like, how does it feel to be in the actual spots of like places you've documented and stuff?
You know what, it's harrowing, man, because it's like you don't even realize the repercussions of these situations and how deep they go, bro.
But I'm saying, if K Flock would have just stood there, he should have just stayed there. I mean, sometimes you gotta play it smart. You gotta move right. I'm not saying like talk to the police and go in there and sit down and cooperate and speak in the interrogation room, but I mean, you could stay there, bro, and you know, tell them you need a lawyer, and then your lawyer will tell them whatever. That's better than them coming to look for you and gotta find you and all of that, bro. Like, yeah, I don't know. Come on.
Where this situation happened and the store shut down, and it looks like it's probably shut down because of this situation.
That's what it looks like.
It just goes to show you, man, this like the repercussions are much deeper than a man losing their life or anything like that, bro. You got
someone's lost their business.
Lost their business over this situation, and it's deeper than you could even imagine, you know.
And the worst part is this looks like a kind of nice area. Well, I don't know about nice, but it looks like a decent area. So yeah, it's mad that these things happen around here, isn't it?
That's what's crazy. Is like we were kind of like, I was thinking, is it shook? Like I don't know. I might not wear my watch, but I feel quite safe around here, to be honest with you. I mean,
never get too comfortable. Nowhere.
It was right here outside of this mini market when the Bronx's most buzzing rapper K Flock made a split-second decision that could well change his entire life. He's still facing murder charges for the situation that happened right here, and for now, while he's incarcerated, other rappers are fighting for the throne of the most buzzing rapper in the Bronx. K Flock was acting absolutely wild in the streets, but unfortunately for him and other NYC drill rappers like him, unlike cities such as Chicago, where rappers like King Von, Lil Jeff, and Q50 can boast about killing numerous people in their songs and still be seemingly untouchable by the law, this is not the New York of the 80s and 90s when crime was completely out of control in the city. Now, that's not to say that the NYPD doesn't have its own problems when it comes to policing, but for comparison, the worst clearance rate for homicides in New York's boroughs in 2023 was in Brooklyn, that number being 76%, whereas in the Bronx it was 81%, meaning that 4 out of 5 homicides in the Bronx actually get cleared. Meanwhile, in the entire city of Chicago, this also including the richest and safest neighborhoods, the clearance rate for murders in 2023 was only 52%, whereas in the poorest neighborhoods in the south side of Chicago, such as Chatham, Woodlawn, and Washington Park, where guys like Von, Jeff, and Q50 made their names, only about 20%, or 1 out of 5 homicides, were actually cleared through prosecution between 2019 and 2021. Although to be fair to Chicago, these numbers might have slightly improved since the peak of the COVID lockdowns, which caused a nationwide crime epidemic that brought the clearance rates down pretty much everywhere. But in any case, given the fact that the modern New York law enforcement are in fact rather efficient at solving crimes, at least compared to some other major US cities, it's no surprise that after the Bronx drill artists began gaining visibility for themselves and their gangs in social media, it would only be a matter of time before the law would intervene. Intervene they would, handing out indictments to some of the biggest and most well-known gangs in the Bronx. One of the first major indictments would come on April the 7th, 2022. This indictment was against 20 members of the so-called Drilly gang, also known as G-Side, who hail from the northwest of the Bronx, more specifically from around the Williamsbridge Oval Park, where they can often be seen hanging out in their music videos. These indicted members, which included guys like the popular rappers Spaz Drilly and Lee Drilly, were being accused of crimes including murders, shootings, and stabbings. The Bronx District Attorney would claim that the gang, which is allegedly a subset of the Sex Money Murder Gang, which on the other hand is part of the United Blood Nation Alliance, that includes several East Coast-based blood-affiliated sets, such as the Nine Trey Gangsters and G-Shine. They'd allegedly committed 32 acts of violence between 2018 and 2022. This investigation, which would be dubbed Operation Drilly, will uncover some some of the most notorious crimes done by the Drilly gang. The first crime in the indictment covers the stabbing of an 18-year-old CUNY prep student who was stabbed in front of his school. It appears the incident stemmed from a dispute when a group of men approached the unnamed student demanding his jacket. The second crime detailed in the indictment is the shooting and stabbing murder of 24-year-old James Rivera, whose life was tragically cut short on July the 20th, 2020. According to gunmemorial.org, James, who also went by Jamie, had a calm personality and was a father of 3 kids, who are sadly going to be forever affected by this senseless violence. According to the indictment, the Drillys were not only putting in work in the streets, as it's also alleged that the members were still also putting in work behind the wall in jails and prisons, with one claim that 3 Drilly members had assaulted a rival gang member whilst incarcerated at the notorious Rah Gz Island prison. Then, on March the 17th, 2021, 4 Drilly members reportedly went to an apartment complex on Hull Avenue, located in the Drilly's hood, where a gun was shot at 20-year-old Delilah Vasquez at close range, ultimately killing her.
A family is devastated after the loss of their 20-year-old daughter. Delilah Vasquez was found shot in the head in a Norwood apartment earlier this month. News 12's Jericho Tran speaks with Vasquez's mother, who says her death could have been avoided.
On Wednesday, March 17th at 9:30 in the evening, Cynthia Duffy received an anonymous call saying her daughter had been shot.
Literally, these people tricked me for over an hour to look for my daughter downstairs, and she was upstairs the whole time.
Frantically searching for her daughter, Duffy called the police, but no reports were made at that time.
Then that same number calls me back while we're with the police 40 minutes later, and they're like, Delilah's in apartment 3A and she's dying, and hangs up. So now the cops believed me. Now they thought I was telling the truth.
Vasquez was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead.
We could have saved her. She was strong. She got shot at 9:30. She died at 11:59. Almost 11:59. She's strong. She could have survived.
Friends and family gathered at the Woodlawn Cemetery on Saturday to remember Delilah, who left behind 2 younger siblings.
Feeling really sad, and I really miss her.
So where did they end up finding her at? Where was she at?
To her.
The devastating loss now accompanied by harassment from the people Duffy believes were involved in her daughter's death.
It's dangerous for me and my family. I'm not in that apartment no more. I packed everything because I'm scared for my life. Because people involved in this are contacting me.
Now, police believe the shooting was gang-related, and 2 arrests have been made in connection to Vasquez's death. 20-year-old Precious Williams and a 16-year-old boy, both facing drugs and weapons charges. Now, friends and family are urging anyone with information in connection to her death to come forward and call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS.
Despite the arrest and the indictment, it's still seemingly not clear why Delilah was shot, and some Redditors in the New York State of Mind subreddit seem to believe she was killed by accident after a gun went off and shot her in the head, saying that Delilah herself was allegedly affiliated with the Drilly gang. Either way, her death would sadly live forever in the lyrics of disrespectful drill songs. Only 2 months after her death, OG's rappers Shah EK and Blockwork would release their song D&D, which stands for Dummy and Delilah, 2 Drilly members who lost their lives far before their time. In the chorus of the song, Blockwork would rap, "Might blow like TNT, that's a D&D. But it's Shah EK who would offer the most disrespectful line, starting off his verse by letting it known that he has a lot of ops he can smoke, but he would rather smoke on Delilah. Even Lil TJ would hop on this trend, dropping a snippet where he says that he smokes Delilah whilst taking other drugs in an attempt to boost his high. This is because Lil TJ is actually affiliated with a gang called Slattery Boys, named after Slattery Park, located on 183rd and Valentine, who actually beef with the Drilly gang. Although these disses towards the Drillys are coming from their ops, the indictment
they sliding, but it's like they getting caught a lot because of social media and all the talking they doing. That is crazy. I just don't understand it, but I guess drill music, you gotta do all of this. Like, you gotta go to people hoods, and you gotta, like, you just gotta do all that type of stuff to even be popping, bro, because you can't make music about anything else, I guess. Man, I don't know. This is crazy.
Members would also boast about their crimes in music. It was obvious that the DA was fed up with all of the senseless violence going on in the borough, and particularly the shameless boasting about that violence, which was making local law enforcement look pretty bad. And only a month after the Drilly indictment, another gang would be handed a high-profile indictment too. This time, none other than the River Park Towers gang, aka RPT, with 23 of the gang's alleged members, including the rapper D-Thang himself, actually getting hit with charges of conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, and even more, claiming that amongst other crimes, members of the the gangs had sent 11 shots into a building, barely missing the head of their intended target. One of the weirder crimes that the gang was charged with was actually animal cruelty. During a live stream that one of the members was filming, a pigeon would fly nearby, which they would compare to a crip. And that's when one defendant would say that if they get 100 views, they would kill the bird. And once they reached that goal, the members would then indeed beat that bird to death with a cane, whilst capturing the absurdity of it all for the world to see.
Crazy.
The Bronx County DA, Denise Clark, would also comment how the gang committed 6 shootings, showing complete disregard for anybody's life, adding that she's calling on rappers from the Bronx to stop using music to encourage shootings and to instead use it to better the community. But in early 2023, the law enforcement would keep going hard after the Bronx drill rappers, only this time it would be the feds, who would first in January charge 2 members of a gang called Third Side, located on 183rd next to the Bronx Zoo, with a racketeering conspiracy, aka a RICO case. One of these alleged members would be a rapper called Zay Munna, whose old videos included cameos from K-Flock, showing just how close these 2 sets were, at least at the time. Indeed, the next month in February, K-Flock's situation would also go from bad to worse, when he and 6 other co-conspirators would be hit with federal racketeering charges for their alleged participation in Sevside, aka DOA, which the feds consider a criminal organization closely affiliated with the Third Side. Besides the alleged murder of Oscar Hernandez, aka Walker, K and his accomplices would also be accused of numerous other crimes, such as shooting up rival gang members in November 2021 near the River Park Towers, where D-Thang's YG's faction RPT operate. While some could argue that K has a decent case to be made that he shot Walker in self-defense, fighting RICO charges against the feds.
That's crazy. So he already got picked up for 187 with the state, and now he got picked up with a RICO? Man, I don't know. What's his fate gonna look like, bro? This is crazy. I mean, even if he get washed in the state, they might still want to pick him up in the feds and take him to trial for whatever. Or they might just throw it out once he get what he gonna get for that 187 conviction, if he get convicted, bro. But this is wild. That man had like a 1-year run, I guess. 1 year? Like, he was popping. He had a low clout for 1 year, and now he about to be another TK possibly. Another TK. They should be using their clout to try to get up out the streets, bro. But they using their clout to really push more other street shit, look. It's wild. I don't know what's going on. But I'm about to log up out of here. I'll see y'all at the next video.